Hi, I'm Johannes Kreidler. I'm a composer from Berlin in Germany, but at the moment I am here in Australia to do some concerts and lectures, and I'm very happy to also contribute to Speak Percussion's Masterclass Sounds Unheard. Hi, I'm Johannes Kreidler. I'm a composer. So, of course, I love music, but there's already a lot of music in the world. So why am I adding new music to it? Well, I think there is still possible ways to add new music to the world, and it is necessary to add new music to the world. For instance, of course, you can play a piano ordinarily, but you could also play it in this way. Or say, you know how to play the guitar, but why not throwing a camera on guitar strings? So you can treat instruments differently. Then one could say, well, but that's not music. Okay, it might not be music, it might not be yet music. So I say, the more unmusical, the better. But that does not mean necessarily that sounds have to be totally ugly. But think of new music, and new music is the music which is not yet music. So I like to make experiments. I like to try out how does it sound to throw a camera, to make a bungee camera on guitar strings, for example. And let's see what happens due to gravity. And this is then a compositional approach where I'm not writing notes on a paper of sheet music, but rather thinking about concepts, thinking about a frame, thinking about using already existing forces, for instance gravity, and using already existing data, for example. Look at a different example. In 2009, Microsoft published a children's composition software called Songsmith.
I'm singing with my laptop, making up new songs.
What are you doing, Lisa? I've never heard you sing.
I'm making songs with Songsmith, Dad, 'cause it's the cool new thing.
You're writing music? When did you learn how to write music?
You sing into a microphone while the drummer plays along. And then when Songsmith makes the music, you're on your way to a song. Now Songsmith comes up with the music that matches your voice.
So this software is there so that children can create their own song. They can choose between different styles, between different musical atmospheres, tempi, and so on. And I thought, for me as a composer, well, should I use already an existing composition software which already gives me certain styles? Well, normally I wouldn't use such a software. But as an artist, one can maybe misuse such a software as well. And so I thought, what would be something that the programmers didn't think about? Right at that time, there was the financial crisis. So I took graphs from stock exchange values and made melodies out of them. And then I fed these melodies into the children's composition software. So let's see how this economic disaster sounds like with a software which is made to create a happy music. Again, in this example, one could say I did not compose actually this music, I rather arranged it, or I had the concept, whereas the composition was done by the managers of these companies or by the Microsoft software. But I'm coming from music. As a child I played the piano and the violin, and I have a degree in composition and also in music theory, so I really had an education in music and I love music. But nowadays, since there is so much music already in the world, maybe it's now more creative and even more ethic to use the already existing sound world and rather shape this instead of creating music from scratch. I think that's hard to do nowadays. I mean, see the piano is an already existing instrument. It has 88 keys and I did not invent one of these keys. I can only make new combinations of these existing keys. And the same is with, say, samples with sound files on the computer. So I have these graphs. I've made a transposition, so to speak, into melodies following the line, and then I fed these melodies into the software. Well, the software offers you a lot of different arrangement styles, which is again very interesting, since this represents different social groups or different places in time. For instance, there you can choose a country style, or you can choose a waltz, or you can choose even a string quartet. So all of these musical styles represent something. And so, for instance, I used country music for the depth amount of the United States, or I used a quick samba at the end for the finale. And then I chose these different companies in the first part of the piece. The piece has 3 parts. In the first part, it's all these declining melodies, and that's it comes from the financial crisis. Then there is a small middle part where social functions of music are described. So music is used for relaxing, for singing together, for dancing together, and to enjoy in the bourgeois concert hall. And then in the third part, there's, so to speak, the counterpoint. In the first movement, everything went down, and now there's also going up. But in this case, going up means, for instance, the amount of dead GIs in the Iraq War, and accordingly the success of a German company selling weapons to the Iraq War. And in the end, there's a kind of finale with it's becoming faster and faster. So you call this a sort of collage piece out of the different variations of the very same concept. Then I could create this 3-minute piece. But what I'm interested in is, as you could see in the example of that piece Charts Music, is contradictions. You have on the one hand this economic downfall, and so every semitone downwards means billions of dollars lost. And on the other hand, a software which creates a music which is always having this happy atmosphere. So contradictions, I think, is something which creates energy, or which creates its own course, and creates also maybe provocation. It makes people think. And I think you can find a lot of contradictions in music as well as in the world generally. There is only movement where there is contradiction, the philosopher Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel said.